What's up, everybody? Home to you by Floyd P. Roberts. This is Home for You by Floyd P. Roberts. This is your man, your real estate guy. I want you to like that button. I want you to subscribe. I'm trying to get to 1,500 subscribers, y'all. Like the page, subscribe, and let's get it on. Leslie York from State Farm Insurance. We got her on. We're talking about portfolios. We're talking about retirements. We're talking about 401ks. Let's get it live. I want to make sure you like that button, subscribe. What's up, everybody? Home for You by Floyd P. Roberts. Home for You by Floyd P. Roberts. As promised, my friend Leslie York from State Farm is here.
Hi.
We will be talking today about life strategies. We talking about a lot of things, right?
Yes.
So we're going to talk about just about how you could increase your portfolio, how you could set yourself up for retirement, and what you could do as far as your 401k, as far as life policies and all those things. So Leslie, please, if you could just introduce yourself to our friends and family out there.
My name is Leslie York. I'm a good friend of Floyd's. I've been a State Farm agent for 34 years in Northridge, California, and happy to be here.
All right, cool, Leslie. So Leslie, we're talking about life insurance. We talk about many things. I've known you over the past, I think, 30 years now or something
Yes.
like that. I mean, the life insurance policy, even insurance itself, has been through a lot, right? A lot of changes. And what's the best thing for right now that a person, if they want to retire, how can they secure their retirement as far as insurance and their loved ones, for example?
Well, so what we talked about a little bit a couple of days ago, and I think we touched on it a year ago, we talked about how people could take advantage of their 401ks that their employers offer, or if they're self-employed, there's plans like Simples or SEPs where they could put money away. Also, you don't want to lose sight of life insurance. And there are two types of life policies. There's term and there's permanent. There's something called return of premium. So just getting those loved ones protected, so in case they don't make it home for dinner, that they don't leave their loved ones in dire straits.
Okay, so I know for me, when I first started with insurance, I thought I'd just get a policy, and if I get taken out or in an accident or anything happened, my loved ones would be taken care of, right? So, and I wasn't sure exactly how everything went. And I had some background in, IRA and stuff like that, but as far as having a friend that can really share things with you and share with you, let you know, well, this is how you can set yourself up for retirement and things like that. So if you could explain, how does like a regular, the insurance policy that I had, it's like the term compared to term life and the financial part of that.
So you have two different policies. You have what we call a universal life policy that's more of a permanent policy, and then you have a term policy. What I like to do is usually when my clients are younger and they have young kids, your kids are all grown now, still going to college, but when you were younger, you needed more life insurance. You need to cover the mortgage, so it's best to get the most insurance you can for your dollars. So usually my clients get a term policy. The only problem with the term policy is those term policies expire. So we have 10-year terms, 20-year terms, 30-year terms. But those policies will expire after the term.
Right.
So the need for life insurance usually doesn't go away. It's just that you don't need as much life insurance. So what I like to do with my clients is periodically throughout the life of the policy, I talk to them. How is this policy working for you? Do we need to get another term? So recently I had a client, her 20-year term's coming due in 5 years. Instead of waiting for the end of the term, we went and we got another term policy for another 20 years. Her daughter just started driving, got her own car, is going to UCLA, so she needs another 20 years. And then when that term, the older policy expires, we'll just let that go, knowing we have a term policy. What's nice about most term policies is you could take the term policy and convert it without any insurance. You don't need an exam or anything because we already have the policy in force.
Right.
You can convert it to a permanent policy. which is what we did for you back in 2023.
Right.
We ended up having a blend of a term policy and a permanent policy.
So now, do you think, as far as just a regular term, right? Now, compared to a one with a life where you get earning and save the money, where you get that money back when it comes to maturity or something like that. Now, with the term, do you need the term now, or with the permanent, or could you get the permanent right now?
You can do both. Unfortunately, what most people can't do is they can't afford the permanent policy. If I have $1 million, I need to take care of the need. So most clients need a $500,000 to $1 million policy, if not more. And so what ends up happening, to get a permanent policy, it's too cost prohibitive. $1 million policy for a 30-year-old would be like $600-700 a month.
Wow.
So I'd rather get the term policy, satisfy the need, and then with reviews every year, every 2 years, every 3 years, depending on the customer and the client, then we'll look at, do we need a permanent policy?
Right.
And then when the needs change, then we get a different policy.
No, that's a good strategy right there. So for a young couple that say just got married, is going to have kids, when the kids grow up, that's when you could make that adjustment and things like that. Now, as far as an investment, say I did have the money, like the person did have the money, and they come into an inheritance or somewhat, I mean, they just make bank, right? They just make money.
Right.
So would you agree that the other term life would be good if they could afford more money, if they have more money, or what would you recommend as far as the two is concerned?
So yes, if money's not a problem and we've satisfied, and there's not a lot of debt, because that's another story that we could have another conversation about making sure debt's taken care of. You really don't want to do a permanent policy if you have debt. And if we have to satisfy the needs of the client, the needs of the family, if the breadwinner or both husband and wife are taken out of the picture and now we have young kids. But then what you do is you basically, if you have money and it's an estate situation where we just want to put money away to pay estate taxes, then that's another story. Or if somebody doesn't have a money problem, maybe we do a blend.
Right.
We do some term and permanent insurance, because the great thing about the permanent policy is you can actually put money into the policy. It generates cash. It does have a surrender charge, so you don't want to start one of those policies unless you're going to keep it for 10 years. But it has a surrender charge, so you can access that money. And the goal is just to have money in there, and you can access it, and it's tax-free as long as the policy is still in force.
Right.
So some of my clients use that as a strategy, because they have money that they can invest in life insurance. So we have some of those. Most of the time, it's term policies.
Right. So that was for say, like if you own a business, right? If you have a business and you want to do the term life to where you have that nest egg, the money you're going to be paying into that, would you think that's more beneficial compared to like if you just both parents or one single household just have a job? And the term would be better. But if you have a business, as far as coming from that point, could you make that a business decision to have that?
It would depend.
Okay.
Because maybe if the business doesn't have a retirement account, because we didn't touch on this the other day when we were on the phone, and I don't have the rules in front of me, but if you're self-employed by January 1st, I believe, before the end of the year, you have to have a retirement plan in place.
Right, exactly.
Either a simple, a SEP, or a 401k, regardless if you have employees or not. And I apologize, I don't have the rule. You and I can get the rule, and you can put it on your YouTube channel or something, and let your subscribers know, and our family and friends know. But there's a strategy, right? You want to make sure you try to cover as many bases as you can for the client. Do we need a Roth? Do we need a 401k? Do we need life insurance? Some of my clients have all of it. They have a term policy, they have a permanent policy, they have a Roth, depending if they qualify. So they could have different policies to satisfy all the needs. So as you and I've talked about, for me, I want to use my 34 years, and I'm 62 years old, as an advantage for my clients.
Right.
To say, what are you doing with your money? Are you saving money? Do you have a 401k at work? Do you have a
Yeah.
pension at work?
Are you socking it away?
Yeah, what's your Social Security situation look like? People don't realize that you can log in, you get registered. There's this new system now, it's pretty easy. You have to do stuff with your phone and everything, but if I can do it, anyone can do it, right? So,
Right.
and you see what your Social Security is, and how much are you going to get if you postpone taking Social Security?
Right. Yeah. So you would say, and I'm thinking, try to think outside the box. I know a lot of people I see I'm driving down the street and I'm like, raising money to bury someone, right? Raising money for a person's funeral. And this is something we really don't think about because you never know what could happen at any time. So would you recommend, like, even if single moms, how could they afford insurance, or how is there a window, or is there something that they could have, like, but a policy for the baby, a policy for the teenager? Because right now, like young teenagers are like at risk. They say they're at risk. I mean, so many things going on with these younger generation. How can a single mom or even a family help protect themselves or secure like a proper burial or something for an unexpected situation?
People don't realize how inexpensive it is. One of the things that might get in somebody's way is a sickness.
Right.
An illness,
Right.
cancer,
Exactly.
some kind of diagnosis that knocks them out and they can't qualify. But people don't realize how inexpensive it is. It's just like the other insurance I help my clients with. Something may happen, and I had to go to some GoFundMe,
Or it
like you
could
said,
happen,
not
right?
GoFundMe, but some fundraisers where one of my clients, there's 30 of them, okay? So my two clients had kids, and they had kids, and the uncle unexpectedly died, and I had life insurance for all the other family members, but he died unexpectedly. And then they did one of those cook-off things where, they made all the food, and then you have people driving by and doing the funds because
Right,
they needed $25,000 to bury him. And we were able to do those funds, but I felt bad for the family. And you need life insurance so you don't have to go through that.
Right.
And not a lot of people don't get life insurance for children because nobody wants to think about those things. Nobody wants to think about losing a loved one.
Right.
What I say is it's better to be prepared and have the information.
Right.
And some people have it at work, which is great. If you have it at work, you can also have another policy if you ever lose your job,
Right.
or your benefits, you lose your benefits, or you change jobs. You can still have a small policy. But to answer your question, if I gave you a range of a 25-year-old female to about 50-year-old female, the range is anywhere between $30 to $68 a month for a small 10-year term policy of $100,000. It's not that expensive.
That's affordable.
Very affordable.
That's like a cell phone bill.
Yeah.
Actually, a cell phone bill is probably more than that.
Yeah.
You
I
know.
just think people are afraid of, it's intimidating.
Right.
And I'll be honest, I've gotten really a lot better at asking the difficult questions. What are your plans? Do you have a plan? If something happened, what would you do without that income?
Right.
So just asking those questions. I don't even care if they buy it from me. I just want them to get protected so that they don't lose the home.
Right.
They don't have to take a second job. Because unfortunately, we don't know when we're going to be called home.
Right. Exactly.
So
Yeah, it's amazing. Like, a lot of people don't even think about life insurance until it's too late, or even insurance for that matter. So, for example, could you fund your policy through your 401k or your job or something like that? Is that possible?
no.
No? Okay. So what about, how could you, if you have a steady job, how could that help you fund your policy? Is it like you could just set up on the ARC system to where you funnel that money once a month into a policy, or don't even think about it, like that $100 for that simple policy, something like that?
Yeah, you can. So the payments can be done automatically,
Right.
just like somebody setting up their 401k. My whole philosophy, and everybody's philosophy is different. My whole philosophy with life insurance is I really don't want people to have a permanent policy unless they're participating, taking full advantage of their 401k.
Right.
Because that's free money.
Right.
because sometimes there's matching. There's so many different 401ks now. There's some that they don't match, some you don't even have to contribute to. So with my employees, I have a 401k. I put money away for them. They don't actually have to contribute it
That's
at
good.
all.
That's great.
Yeah, and it allows me to put money away. So employers, there's an incentive because employers want to reduce their taxes and have a 401k, and then there's a benefit for their employees. Now my employees can also contribute to it if they want.
Right.
I just do 3%, and I have what's called a safe harbor. But what I like to do is everybody's situation is different. Everybody's family is different. Every household's different.
Right.
I like to sit down with them. I want to take care of the first need, which is, do you have life insurance? How much do you have? What's the mortgage? Once I take care of that, then I want to see, what are you doing for retirement? If they have extra money and they want to put some away tax-free,
Right.
because it is in the life policy, and then it becomes tax-free to the beneficiary, then you go to the permanent life policy. We don't sell a lot of those because a lot of people aren't prepared. They're
Right.
just not thinking about it, and everybody's busy with everyday life and just trying to get by and struggle and have
Right.
the cup of coffee in the morning
Right,
and
right.
get going. They're
Right.
like, oh yeah, I'm going to get to that.
Right. Until sometimes it's too late, but that's why I really think it needs to be in the forefront moving forward, because right now there's nothing that's secure. There's nothing that's absolute. There's nothing permanent. You could be in one job one day and you're gone the next. It's like not by your own power, but it's like anything can happen. You can get laid off at any time. That's why it's important to think about these things. The other day I saw this accident on the freeway, on the 10 freeway, where people just in the car and this 18-wheeler just going plows into three people dead just like that.
I know, I heard about it.
and
It was in Ontario,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
it looks like it was a basketball coach.
Right, exactly. And I'm like saying, it's like, I'm not saying, I hope these guys have policies, but that is in a moment's eye, just real quick, something like that, the tragedy strikes. And it's best to be prepared in case something like that happens,
And I've always seen, so again, I was a claims adjuster before I became an agent, so I'm in my 39th year in the industry, and I have seen, if you're prepared, usually nothing bad will happen.
Right. It's ironic.
And I tell my
It's
clients that all the
crazy.
time, because they're like, I don't even want to think about it. As silly as it sounds, even when I'm selling car rental on
Right.
their policy or MedPay, I'm like, look, if we get all this stuff done, if something happens, you're prepared, but you're probably not going to need it.
Right.
And I can seriously say, and unfortunately there's really bad stuff that happens out there, but most of the time people make it home for dinner.
Right.
And that's what I want. I want everybody to make it home for dinner. And if they don't, we've got them taken care of. I don't want to get teary-eyed, but sometimes it gets very emotional that
Right.
I just want everybody to make it home for dinner.
The thing that I don't get sometimes is that it seems like you put all that money away, like car insurance, right? You put all that money for years, 10, 15 years, and all of a sudden, where did it go, right? And if you think about it in the natural, right, nothing happened. But if it did, you'll be covered. And that's the thing that people don't understand, is because if it didn't happen, great. But if it does happen, you want that there. That's why they call it insurance. You want to be secure. You want to have that in your back pocket. That get out of jail free card. Like something that, okay, in case this happened, that's what happened. Like AAA. It's like, my kids are like saying, why you need AAA? If you get a flat tire, you run out of gas, you call them. Do I really need it? No, you may not. But that one time you do, 12 o'clock at night, or 1 o'clock in the morning, or whatever, you have that. And that's why it's important to have insurance. It's important to cover yourself, cover your loved ones, because the way I look at it, insurance is not for me. Insurance is not for me. It's for the people that I love.
Right.
So I
Right.
wanted them covered in
Right.
case I could get a decent burial, or in case something happens, they're covered to where they could at least have a decent life if I'm not there. And I think that's the number one thing we need to take in consideration when we're thinking about our lives is that we need to be thinking about not us. Obviously, you're going to take care of yourself, obviously, but think about your loved ones. Think about that person after you, mom, dad, children, wife, husband, aunt, uncle, all those things. So you need to be thinking about that. Now, Leslie, why is it important to have insurance? I know we talked about that, but in the common denominator, in your over plus 30 years of doing this, why is it so important just to have it?
Because you can recover from a catastrophic event. It doesn't, even if I tell my clients, like right now, rates are really high. Auto insurance, especially in the San Fernando Valley, we're north of the San Fernando Valley right now, but the rates are really high. And people are trying to manage their expenses with reducing our exposure by raising the deductible.
Right.
So you raise the deductible, 10,000, 1% of the dwelling, raise your deductibles on your comp and the collision. You don't want to take the coverage off because then you're exposed.
Right.
And then there's a lot of I know DMV and everyone's doing their best to, keep people insured because there's still a lot of people uninsured. So if you're hit by an uninsured driver, you got to have the collision on your car, even if it's a 6-year-old car, 7-year-old car. Maybe you paid it off, and sometimes people call me and they're like, well, how much am I going to save? I'm like, $100 every 6 months is not worth it. But let's look at maybe raising your deductibles. Can you, most people have 500, 1,000.
Right.
But if you have $2,000 sitting in an account somewhere, even in your 401k, you could borrow from your 401k. So I like when people can raise their deductibles, still be covered from a catastrophic event, doesn't matter what it is, and then they're covered, so they don't have to go and now they don't have money to buy a car because now somebody hit them who's uninsured. So a car, it doesn't matter how old the car is, it's transportation. And
Right.
Unfortunately, in Los Angeles, we don't have good public transportation. They pulled all the railroad tracks. We did.
Right.
And they're getting better.
They used to.
They're getting better.
Right.
I heard there's something going, and I forgot when they said they were going to finish
A bunch
it.
of buses all over the
The
place.
Sepulveda they're trying to connect the Sepulveda down the 405
Right.
with some kind of railroad. They've been talking about it for years, but you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah,
you,
right,
you
right.
have to, you got to get to work.
Yes, have to, no doubt.
Yeah. So.
So it's good to have it. It's better to have insurance than to not have it at all.
Yes.
And you talk about uninsured motorists, right? There's a lot of people right now who's driving without no insurance, and we know who those people are. I know who they are.
Yeah.
Right.
And the
So do you.
carriers are not bending. I had one recently where there's no gray area. So my client got hit, rear-ended. It's an older car, 2013. They had collision with us, not rental. So they had to, pay for the rental car out of their own, but we paid for it. And the kid had just gotten his license with Geico. July, the accident happened in late September. They didn't add the kid, so Geico goes, nope.
Wow.
So then they had to make a claim under their uninsured motors. Now she's fine. She's not injured, fortunately. And then we waived the deductible, but they got their car fixed.
Right.
So they had the coverage.
See?
But you gotta
have it.
So here's what I think, and maybe next time we have a conversation, we could dive deeper into some other parts of what we're talking, because we're kind of doing, for the audience, we're doing just an overview.
Right.
My recommendation would be for anyone watching, get an expert on the phone. It doesn't matter what insurance company you're with. Call your insurance company. What do I have? I've explained the coverages multiple times to my clients who've been with me for 34 years.
Right.
They forget. It's not their lingo. They're busy, they own a restaurant, or like you, they have, they're self-employed, they're doing stuff, they're a lawyer. They know what their trade is.
Right.
Not mine.
Right.
Because since you and I spoke, Palisades fire.
Right. Exactly.
I have 10 claims going, and I talked to my 10 clients the first 2 months weekly, the first 5 days daily.
Wow.
Multiple conversations. What do I have? What do I do? And then again the next week, what do I have? What do I do? They didn't know. They're spinning.
Yeah.
who would have thought that Palisades would have burned? So
Not in a million years, right?
no. So that would be the start, is to contact their current company. What do I have? What are my deductibles?
Right.
And then check with human resources. What is my life insurance? Do I have some companies give life insurance for spouses? It's included.
Right.
Or if you're not paying for it and you work for a big company, you can get several $100,000 of coverage, pennies on the dollar. So you start there first. Then you might supplement it with a plan with State Farm, AAA, USAA, Northwestern, New York. I mean, there's a lot of companies,
Right.
a lot of good companies out there. You have to go with somebody that's local and who you trust.
Best to go local, right?
Yeah. Because you got to be able to walk in and find the person. You know, I mean, there's something great about State Farm or Farmers
Right,
or,
right,
you
right.
know, I
Yeah.
mean, or AAA. I mean,
Somebody's
you know
there,
where
right?
the office is, right?
We know where you are, right?
Yeah, because you don't want to go hello and it's an empty office, or
Right.
you know, because and the other thing about life insurance, I haven't had any of my clients because State Farm's so solid.
Right.
But unfortunately, there's not a lot, but companies that went out of business, and now the guy's 55 years old, and he doesn't have a policy.
Right.
So
Terrible.
you got it. Yeah, especially if you're doing not a term. Well, it's important anyway.
Right.
You don't want a term policy and you're in your 10th year and now you got diagnosed with cancer and you need 10 more years and the company you bought the policy for is bankrupt. It happens.
Yeah.
Not a lot, but yeah, go with a huge
It's best to
company.
go to a reputable
Yes.
company.
Yeah.
It may seem like it's more, but if you call like 10 companies, they're usually around the same.
Yeah.
You know,
oh, yeah.
they're usually around
yeah.
the same.
The rates around the same. Like there's these commercials, you know, SelectQuote, Ethos.com, all these different companies. That's all fine, but most of those companies are online and they're usually on the East Coast.
Right.
And they're underwritten by another company. So if something happens to a loved one and you're trying to figure out, you need money.
Right.
You can't go into a local State Farm office.
Yeah.
USAA, they're selective, and I don't know if they have. That's a whole different ballgame.
Right. Right.
But you really gotta be when you need the policy, you gotta be able to get the people on the phone.
Right. It's common denominators. You got to know someone, and you have to trust them.
Yes.
And then also a live person would help.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Of somebody you know for a while, and something to where, if something was to happen, hey, you could pick up the phone and say, hey, well, this is what's going on,
Yes.
or other than waiting, calling for 24 hours, and they get back to you in 3 days
Yeah.
when you have to make a decision on something, right?
Yeah.
So Leslie, how can people get in touch with you that want to know more about what we talked about, the policies and the insurance and even questions? How could they be in touch with you?
Well, they could contact me through, I have a Facebook page. They could contact me. The best way is usually by email, by phone.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So,
And then what's the number if they off the back they get to call your office?
so my office number is 818-885-6615.
What is it?
818-885-6615.
All right, so there you go. That's Leslie York from State Farm Insurance Agency. Any questions about life insurance, auto insurance, whatever question that you may have concerning insurance, that's the lady you want to talk to.
Except we're not writing home insurance right now.
Not home, right? Exactly. So if you have a
But
question about home,
But I can help them.
yeah,
I can help them.
yeah, exactly.
I mean, I may not be able to write it, but I can help them.
oh, right, exactly.
And if you have a home policy, my recommendation is to review it and keep that policy for now.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a whole nother story.
And I know you helped my friends out that needed your help. I mean, went over backwards. The person I know that had to have insurance within like 15 days or 10 days, had to have a quote, send stuff in, and Leslie got on it, got in touch with another broker, and took care of that. That's what I know, that she could take care of you. Any problem that you have, Leslie York, State Farm agent, that could help you. She can help you. So, want to thank you guys for tuning in. It's been great. We're gonna have her back soon. I don't, hopefully not a whole year, we're talking about more policies and more 401ks or whatever we're going to talk about. But that was good information. If this information was helpful for you, if you like this, log on, swipe, follow, look up Leslie on Facebook, and subscribe. Floyd Roberts, Home for You by Floyd P. Roberts. Peace. We'll be talking to you soon. And we'll have Leslie back sooner than later, right?
Yeah. Thank you.
All right. You're welcome. Talk to you soon. Bye.